Well, hello and welcome to another movie review from MBE. Today, John, we are going to be talking about 1994's Pulp Fiction, of course directed by Quentin Tarantino. Poster's right behind me, folks.
Does indeed.
Yeah, we'll just get right into this, John. The reason for that is because it's amazing. Probably the best, I think, in my opinion anyway, it's the best Quentin Tarantino film
I'd agree.
so far. He's only got one more to go, so it's going to take a lot to top this one.
I hope that still falls.
Yeah, well, we did Death Proof maybe about 3-4 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
But certainly I think at the time, we were talking about where we put Death Proof in our top Tarantino films. We both agreed that Pulp Fiction was our number one choice, and I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Stephen, it's one of the greatest crime movies ever made. We were speaking about it when we actually spoke about Lock, Stock 2, Smoking Barrels, this multi-perspective, sort of threaded and layered story.
Yeah.
Must have been so inspirational in the early to mid-90s for so many filmmakers watching that, seeing what this great man came up with, along with some other chap, Roger Avery, who I checked out. He worked in conjunction with Quentin on this movie. I think he did some side writing for a radio part or something on Reservoir Dogs as well, but out with that, not done much else in his actual career. I think he's done a couple of other movies, but nowhere near the standard of this movie, so it's mostly Quentin. So you can imagine the inspiration that guy gave so many filmmakers in the 90s. I'm not saying Guy Ritchie was inspired by it, but I'd be surprised if he wasn't.
Yeah.
So that's just the power of this movie. You're inspiring a guy like Guy Ritchie and so many other directors to do crazy sort of avant-garde at this era shit with movies and whatnot. Can't really speak about this movie and not speak about the rabbit in the room or in the corner, whatever you want to, whatever, elephant in the corner, whatever terminology you want to use. I'll make up my own sense, it's alright, I do it all the time. Harvey Weinstein, Stephen, they did finance this movie. Also, we're not going to speak about this shithead too much, but in a way I'm glad he did, because he was the only guy that was willing. His studio at the time, I think it was Myra Mix or something, some other studio, I think it was TriStar, didn't like it. They thought it was too seedy, it was too dodgy with the heroin addict and whatnot, wouldn't fund it. It's almost like the Beatles not getting a start with Decca Studios and whatnot. This guy came in, they funded it. So look, shithead though he is, absolute rapist though he is, and it's been confirmed in a court of law, so I can say that. It's not alleged. He did give us this movie, so look, that's one redeeming part in a sea of absolute shit. But Stephen, I love this movie. I really do. I've said in the actual guideline, the brilliance of Quentin and Roger Avery. I did some research on this. I wasn't aware of this prior to actually doing this review. I've just watched the movie and loved it for what it was, but the crafting of this, it started all the way back in 1990 with Reservoir Dogs. He worked with Roger Avery on this idea of doing a 3-part movie story, like the novelists do and filmmakers don't usually get a chance to do in a movie.
Yeah.
I think he started with Reservoir. It was supposed to be as part of the one movie, but he also produced and directed that. Roger Avery did some other movie, which I can't even find the name of at the moment. Pandemonium Reigns. And then they also worked together. I think he condensed that into one of the parts in Pulp Fiction. So what an interesting sort of origin for this. These two guys working on completely different, disconnected scripts, bring them all together and making this absolute unique movie with 3 distinct stories and like 7 or 8 different acts within it. It's such a unique concept. I don't know what you make about that little origin and what you make about the story structure as well, Stephen. It's a sort of circular, apparently the critics call it.
John, I wasn't aware of this, and before we came on air, I asked you about this note because I didn't know anything about this, and you explained it well, just like you did there. But I suppose every good story's got to start somewhere. Sometimes that's what they do. George Lucas took a very massive story and went right into the middle part of it and created episode 4. So, this is what they do, and it's such, at its time, it was such a unique thing, as you said, there's been copycats since then, but this was such a unique experience back in 1994. I remember seeing this for the very first time and thinking, wow, this is something I've never seen before. I've never seen this kind of structure before in a film. The sort of, the layers as well, as you said, you've got maybe about 6 or 7 storylines going on in there. You've also got the different groups as well, maybe about 3 or 4 groups. I can't remember how many there is.
Well, there's 3 definite groups. You've got Marcellus, you've got Butch, and then you've got Vincent, obviously, and Jules. And then you do have the diner scene as well. Yeah,
Pumpkin and Honey Bunny, So, I mean, probably you've got the 3 main ones, haven't you? So, I mean, it was just... films like this are always going to have rewatchability. just because of brilliant writing, but also the way it's structured and layered. Sometimes maybe it needs multiple viewings just to get your head around the actual timeline of this film. They could have obviously made this film in sequence, and it still would have been really good. But I'm glad the way that they did it. You know, I think that was probably the wisest choice. You know, to sort of go back and forth. You know,
Stephen, I agree, because as you do know, there's a certain incident happens in this movie which we will get into at some point. Disappointed me immensely to see this character go out the way he went out. Pop-Tarts jumping out of the toaster and them getting gunned down in a toilet.
But then he's back for the last scene.
But then he's back for the last scene, and that's the brilliance of the writing in this sort of non-chronological ordered movie. It's different timelines. It's almost like Nolan did many years later with Dunkirk. And I think obviously Guy Ritchie did do it with Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. We've seen it done many times since then, but I think this was, for me, I'm not sure, I'm not the world's biggest film buff. I'm sure there was some director, maybe a Hitchcock or something like that, back in the day, did something unique with it, because I know Tarantino, one of the greatest film buffs in the history of mankind, he knows every tiny little detail, even right down to the name. Stephen, he got the inspiration for this movie from a series of lurid magazines where it's got lurid sexual stuff going on and violence and drugs and whatnot. That's where he took it from. And I think the original actual working title was Black Mass or something, and that was taken from a similar magazine. So shows you the attention to detail that Quentin has in pop culture over the last 30, 40, 50 years. He always brings it into his movies. He's just a totally unique brain in that sense. But Stephen, the intro, the prologue, as I've said, apparently it's a prologue. Pumpkin and Honey Bunny holding up the diner. I've says, who the hell holds up a diner? I think actually Tim Roth says that in the movie. I think Honey Bunny asks him. I can't recall her actual name, incidentally. That's her nickname. Why are we doing this? Because no one would think you'd hold up a diner, because there's no money in it, that's why. But as we find out at the end of the movie, there is some reward for them. But Stephen, would anybody else out with Tarantino kick off a movie of this ilk with a wild sort of Bonnie and Clyde couplet holding up a diner? It's a unique start.
I think it's a unique start for the way it's kicking off and who they're using in the introduction as well, because you know, both Amanda Plummer, is it, and Tim Roth, they're not in it a lot. You know, they're only in it at the very beginning and then the very end, or near the very end anyway. So it's unusual. You know, you think you're going to maybe get one of the main players, Samuel Jackson character, or obviously John Travolta's character, but not right away. But surprisingly, if you've got a keen ear, you can actually hear, I think, one of the two. They're in the diner at this point, but you don't see them. This is what I love about this film. Apparently you can hear the audio of perhaps Jules. He's either, I don't know,
waxing about how there was divine intervention and he's done.
I think he's talking about pig swine or something like that at this point, because that obviously plays into it later on in the film for this scene. But yeah, I mean, it's all in there, but it is unusual. But you know, Tim Roth was in Reservoir Dogs, so you know, he's such a great actor, you know, and he's been in obviously the Hateful Eight as well.
Been in a lot of them.
Yeah, I mean, he's a good actor, John. You know, and Amanda Plummer as well. I hope I'm saying her name right.
Plummer.
Yeah, she's a great actress as well. You know, and the two of them just combine so well. You would believe both of them are a couple. You know, slightly unhinged couple, but she obviously delivers that famous line before we get the opening sort of credits, don't they? You know, the MFs. You know, I can't say it on our channel.
Yes, sadly not, Stephen. But look, that's something that's going to be a recurring issue when we try to do quotes or whatnot, because there's a hellacious amount of swearing in this movie. But that's something Tarantino says about this movie, Stephen. He wanted to take tried and tested sort of classic story plots about characters, turn it on its head and make things go awry for them. And you see that with these two, they hold up this diner. It's a diner. If you'd go into a diner 9 times out of 10, you'd get away with it. There wouldn't be anybody. But for these two, they've got Vince Vega and Jules Winfield sitting loaded with big, ridiculous guns and whatnot. So it goes to the shit for them. We see it with Butch later on. I'm pretty sure it's Butch. Things do go awry to an extent for Butch. His whole life goes awry. But I'm thinking more about Vince with obviously Mia and the night out. With Marcellus' obviously partner. Things go very awry, so that's something that's a recurring theme throughout this movie, and you can see what he was thinking, taking these classic sort of character arcs and making things go bad for them. Stephen, the prelude though, it says to Vincent Vega and Marcellus Walsh's wife, that whole sort of main plot point in the movie. This is also when Vince and Jules rock up to the apartment. One of these little shitheads, I think it's Marvin or something like that. No, it's not Marvin, it's the other guy. The guy that he gives the Ezekiel, I can't say the name.
Yeah.
Ezekiel a line to. He's obviously keeping a hold of Marcellus's briefcase at this point, and they have to go and deal with it.
Brett, yeah.
This could be the best sequence in the whole movie, Stephen. There is a number, but this is right up there. Just dialogue, the way that they back and forth, Vince Vega and Jules Winfield, setting up this chemistry between these two characters, between the two actors. They're speaking about, what do you call a quarter pounder in France? I think it's the what does he say again? The McLaughlin. Oh God, what the hell does he say?
Yeah, but I think it's a metric system, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a quarter pounder. I mean, I can't remember. Yeah, I can't paraphrasing, but it's just sort of setting it up. But this was probably the first indication that we got, John,
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese. That, you know, Tarantino can take the most mundane dialogue and make it very interesting and so quotable. How many times have you had a burger, John? You went, that's a tasty burger.
Yeah.
Just
cornerstone of every nutritious breakfast.
Yeah, yeah.
Stephen, it's just a fantastic sequence. It really is. It's the say what again. I dare you. And then the Ezekiel, as I says, that quoting. This is obviously something that's been a bit of a routine for him when he's about to carve out absolute chaos.
Apparently it doesn't mean anything, John. I think
shame.
a lot of people thought it was biblical, but I think it was something that he just came up with himself. But you're right, you know, you've got the this scene's probably the most famous scene in the film, and it happens so early on as well, but the tension in that room is unbelievable, wasn't it? And that's down to Samuel Jackson and just showing his authority and command around the room.
So
John Travolta's character, Vince Vega's kind of just hovering in the background. He's not really giving a shit, really, isn't he? You know, no. I think he's smoking a cigarette, he's checking out the case, you know, making sure everything's okay.
The glow.
You know, Samuel Jackson's just, you know, dictating. You know, he's conducting everyone. He's telling them, just sit down, you're not getting up, stay where you are. You know, can I have some of your burger and stuff like that? It's a Sprite, I'll, you know, wash it down with that. You know, and he's really just sort of planting the seeds, like, you're not getting out of this. He actually says that, doesn't he? You're not going to get out of this. But it's a great scene. Brett, isn't it? Big brain on Brett. Yeah.
Check out the big brain on Brett. Stephen, obviously, I mean, we introduced Big Kahuna Burger at this stage as well. This is something that Tarantino does time and again in all of his movies. It's sort of in that pre-established universe of his, and all of these brands and
Apple
companies,
cigarettes,
they all pop up in these movies, and some milk or another, and we get Big Kahuna Burger. And for when was the first time I seen this movie? Probably the early 2000s.
Yeah.
About 20 years now, I've been just begging someone with the blessing of Tarantino to open up a Big Kahuna Burger here in Glasgow so I can try it. We don't have enough burger places here, let's be honest.
That's rubbish.
We don't have the likes of Popeyes and whatnot, and White Castle I think they have over in Seattle. We
Yeah.
only get KFC and McDonald's, it's shite. But Stephen, it's just, again, it's just beautifully established. I actually wasn't aware that this sequence was, it's been a while since I've seen this movie. I always used to put this sequence together with the moment where the guy busts out of the room, I think it's the toilet, and shoots at them and misses with about 10 shots.
Is it not?
But apparently it takes place later on in the movie.
Right.
According to this chronological sort of summary of the plot that I've been looking at, just to give us a little helping hand, helping us through the story. Apparently this took place after. I actually thought it all took place together.
Yeah.
But I think it cuts.
Well, it does take place, but we don't see it till later. That's right.
It takes place later on. And again, that's the beauty of the way this movie is constructed.
Yeah.
These two guys go about their business, they go off, also Jules retires, Vince gets killed, but then they're back.
It's funny, John, but you're absolutely right. I think your brain just naturally pieces it together, doesn't it, and puts it all into sequence, which I think's it's amazing.
Yeah.
But you're right. I actually thought that happened in the same. It does happen in the same bit, obviously the same sort of timeline, but we don't, as the audience, don't get to see it until later on in the film. Yeah,
because I think they turn up in like the club with the t-shirt and the shorts on. You're like, what the hell happened to these guys? It makes no sense. We're in suits. And then it's all explained. It's beautiful the way it all comes together.
Yeah.
Stephen, the dialogue though, we have to touch upon it briefly. I've said, even by Tarantino's standards, this is gold. I mean, this guy is made, he's sort of defined by, he's defined by the dialogue in these movies. Very conversational movies.
Yeah.
And the dialogue is always fantastic. As you says, it could be the most mundane shit, and he makes it pop because it feels real.
It's funny, John, because I don't recall too much of it happening in Reservoir Dogs, which was the first Tarantino film I saw in '93 when it came out. I think it was out the year before. My maths might be wrong, but
I think it is '93.
But I don't remember too much. I can't really quote too much Reservoir Dogs for some reason. My experience of that film was it was a very violent film. Most Tarantino films have got a level of violence, but it just seemed to be a game changer at that time in the early 90s, Reservoir Dogs, and it got a lot of attention for the wrong reasons with a lot of more liberal-minded people.
What a surprise.
Yeah, and some things never change.
It's a movie. It's
But when this film came out, I don't know, it seemed to have a more sort of broader sort of tone to it. You know, it still had the violence, but there was something very comic booky about it as well. And I think, as you said, you know, it's that inspiration in the title, as in Pulp Fiction, playing into it. But yeah, I mean, it's some of the dialogue in this film is just, it's just so remembered. You know, what we're talking, 26 years on.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, and as you said, John, you know, he can take the most mundane stuff and make it so quotable and make it interesting as well. I mean, you'll be hanging on to his every word. I mean, the whole burger scene as well, I struggle obviously to paraphrase that, but it's something you just listen to and you go, I like these guys in their conversation, you know. They're supposed to be these gangsters and they're talking about the metric system, and I didn't get into Burger King and stuff like that, you know. Funny stuff.
Stephen, it's just the fact that you've got Samuel doing his trademark Mother Effer, and I'm a Mushroom Cloud Lane Mother Effer, and why the hell am I on Brain Detail?
Yeah.
just the interactions. If you didn't have that level of dialogue, it would have been such a mundane experience. But because you have got it, and the actor's chosen again by Tarantino, that's another thing he always casts perfectly. They just supplement that beautifully, and it's just a great experience as a result. Stephen, obviously we get Vince Vega and Marcellus Wallace's wife, aka Mira, I want to say, played by the great
Wallace,
Uma Thurman.
Yeah, brilliant.
What a sequence this is. We see Vince going to the heroin dealer. I think you says it was Eric Stokes. I'm calling him Schultz. I'm adding a bit of German flavour onto it. He goes and visits him. I think he gets his heroin, and then he goes off. He picks up Mia. Yeah. They go for a lovely meal. And
I think
just
as
a great
well,
sequence.
John, him going to the house as well, and I think she's still getting ready, and Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, the song comes on as well. I think it's a Neil Diamond song, but I don't think it's Neil Diamond that's singing that version. But
and it still sounds like Neil Diamond.
It's a great song as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll talk about the soundtrack shortly, John.
Oh, Stephen, absolutely.
Just the meeting of them, you know, it's funny because up to now Vince Vega's been this sort of tough guy, you know. Here he's a bit more on edge. He's a bit more nervous because of who he's having to sort of take care of for the night.
The big man's wife.
You know, and Uma Thurman, this might have been the first film I saw her in. I didn't realise that she wasn't naturally a brunette. I just thought that was a real style, that was her real hair. But she
is she a brunette? I didn't realise that.
I'm not sure, John, but obviously in the film she's got dark hair. But both of them for the next 20 minutes or so, 25 minutes, you know, just the whole night out it's a fantastic, it's such an interesting sequence, you know, going from one place to the next, but obviously stopping in at that diner first and foremost, where we get that obviously legendary dance off. Steve
Buscemi pops up as well. Stephen, actually forgot he was in it. You reminded me, he's Buddy Holly. And the chat about awkward silences, why do we fill it with just basically a name shit? I'm paraphrasing heavily. And also the $5 shake, I was about to say $9. He's questioning why she would have a $5 shake with a burger. Stephen, it took me, as I says, it took me over a decade to try out a milkshake, a strawberry milkshake with a burger. Yeah, he's right. He's got it right again. Tarantino knows what he's doing. That is just a combination fit for a god. It's perfect. So I now have milkshakes when I can with a burger.
His reaction to drinking it as well, he actually enjoys it, doesn't he? I can't remember what he says.
It's a pretty damn good shake or something.
Yeah, it's just his reaction to it. There's another little line from Mia Wallace as well that I like, and it's something I love. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you go to the restroom, as they call them in America, and you come back and your food's already waiting for you. I love that. I absolutely love that. You know, especially if you're hungry and you decide I need to go to the gents. By the time you come back, your food's waiting for you. Again, that's Tarantino, Stephen, bringing the life experience into the movie. It's the little ticks that just, again, what I say is taking these sort of historical character arcs and adding real life things into it. It's perfect. This whole sequence is incredible. We get the You Never Can Tell, is that correct? The Chuck Berry sequence of dancing, the twist contest. Fantastic. Another legendary scene in film period, not just in this movie.
the great John Travolta dancing about. What a dancer the man is. And Uma Thurman holds up as well.
I was going to say that, John.
Just
You've
incredible.
got to commend her for that. You know, I don't think there would have been a lot of people playing opposite John Travolta as a dance-off, you know, as part of as a sequence. But apparently there's a lot of inspiration from another film. I've seen some video on YouTube, John, that Tarantino might have borrowed a lot of sequences, but I don't care about that.
It's a criticism.
You know, because at the end of the day, it's I call it homage more than anything, you know, and you don't have to ask John Travolta twice if he'll do a sort of dance scene in a film, because the guy is one of the best. And here, it does look like it's a bit sporadic, you know, but I think obviously it's clearly not. It's all planned out. Yeah. But I think it's just the way that they kind of just get into their own little worlds when the music's playing. They just play off each other brilliantly.
Yeah, the whole that and whatnot. Fantastic. Stephen, also things go awry though for these two characters. They go back to the house. I think he goes to the restroom or the toilet, as we see over here.
Yeah.
I think she gets told into his heroin. She thinks it's cocaine, sniffs it, has an overdose. He has to go back to Eric Stoltz's house. That nagging bitch of a wife just nag in the background. It's like, just shut up, bitch. We've got to save this woman here. She's dying.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Ends up stabbing her in the heart. Obviously, it's just horrendous, that sequence. I still cringe watching it to this day.
It's a horrible. Yeah, he's got to get through the ribcage, isn't he? Oh. It's a horrible situation. You know, obviously it's his fault. You know, for making it accessible to her. You know, she's obviously got to be responsible for her own actions as well, but just everything about it, you know, just the way that she's holding her nose, the blood's coming out her nose, and then you see the eyes roll back, and I'm like, this is just turning into an absolute nightmare. And he's obviously
going to make pig meat out of you.
Well, that's what I think he's thinking. I don't think he's as concerned for Mia as he is for himself, to be honest with you, you know.
He's a bit of a selfish shit.
You know, but it was, what a night out.
Yes,
what a night out,
it was,
you know.
Steve.
It was
better
great.
night out than I've ever had in my entire life. There's drug overdoses and dancing and $6 shakes. Back then, or $5 shakes, it'd be about £15 now.
Yeah.
Sans inflation. Steve, the soundtrack in this movie, I'm actually trying to get some of it. Also, I mentioned Chuck Berry. I think you get Son of a Preacher Man at one point. You mentioned Neil Diamond. Just Tarantino, he knows how to implement great music into movies. I don't know what it is. It's James Gunn's obviously like the heir apparent now, but Tarantino's been doing this for 30 years. He just knows how to pick the perfect music. We spoke about it with Death Proof. Every movie, pretty much, apart from the westerns, I don't think, even then I think there's that Django sort of song, Django, that's still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So he knows how to pick music. What was your thoughts about the magnificence of the soundtrack in this movie?
Yeah, I think I had the soundtrack, John. I think I had it on a cassette when it first came out. It was fantastic. You know, I just think, again, I think I'm probably repeating myself here when I'm talking about. Yeah, I think that's the first song in the film, isn't it? But yeah, I mean, one track after another. I don't think there's a dull track on there.
No, there isn't, Stephen. I'm looking. Let's Stay Together, Al Green, fantastic.
Yeah, it's in the bar, isn't it? That's that one, yeah.
You've got You Never Can Tell, as I said. You've got Son of a Preacher Man, busting surfboards. I think that's that moment where they may be walking with the t-shirts.
Yeah.
And it's sort of the surfer look. So many good music in this, man. I mean, it's just, as I say, it's classic, sort of trademark Tarantino.
Yeah.
Don't know why I struggled with that there. Stephen, obviously the prelude to the Gold Watch. This is when we get Butch Coolidge.
It's like a separate film, John.
Yeah, he comes in for the first time, and I think we get Christopher Walken. Maybe he wakes up, and he may actually be dreaming about the watch. I can't recall. Something that's a sort of flashback of the watch, though, and what this gold watch means to him. It's got really sort of a lot of nostalgic symbolism to him, because it's his father's watch, and it went through world wars and Lord knows what else, and now it's his watch. It's his prized possession. We get Christopher Walken in this movie, and he's fantastic in it.
He's only in it for about 3 minutes, John, or something like that, or it might be a little bit longer, but just his gold watch story pulled me in. It was just such an interesting story, and again, you get a really good actor to pull that off, then it makes it interesting, you know, and you get somebody like Christopher Walken in there. He's going to make it sound dramatic, you know, and interesting, and he certainly did, you know, but obviously it has a purpose, you know, and it obviously has meaning for the character Butch, you know, and like I said, you know, this part of the film seems a little bit, where's this came from, you know, because it just has a different feel to it at this point, you know. I've got to be honest with you, as much as a Bruce Willis fan, at this point, I wasn't really feeling the Butch character at all. I've got to be honest with you, John. I just felt something just not that interesting about this guy. You know, it just seems like he's another washed up boxer. You know, that's trying to screw over his manager, which he does. You know, I think the character develops as the film goes on. You know, but at this point, I just felt I want to stay with Vince and I want to stay with Jules. They're more interesting at this point. You know, but it certainly plays a bigger part into the film, you know, as it moves on forward.
Stephen, that's also Roger Avery's fault, because he was actually the guy that penned that whole sort of golden watch part of the gold watch part of the movie, so blame him. He's like the Macca on A Day in the Life. Woke up, fell out of bed, he done that a little bit. I liked it.
Yeah,
but it's not as good
as
this
bit, John. I'm not saying it's not a bad sequence or anything like that. I just feel that it's slightly different to the rest of the film at this point, you know.
Well, I agree, Stephen. Look, I wasn't keen on Bruce Willis in the movie initially, but as I've watched it subsequently many times, I've grown to like the character. As you know, I hated him for that one moment. But Stephen, you're right, that sort of flashback was perfect, because it set up the moment when he realises he's not got the golden watch. He's had to, but obviously Bale, it sets up him throwing the boxing. He's supposed to throw the boxing match for Marcellus, and they'll both earn out of it. He also kills the guy accidentally, and he has to do a runner. He's what to kill him. He's on the run. Yeah. And he has to get back to the apartment because his dozy partner, she is dozy. She's a little bit strange. I think she's like Russian or Ukrainian or something.
She's a bit simple, isn't she?
Yeah. She forgets to pack the watch, so he has to get back to the apartment. And that sets up just absolute carnage and chaos in this next sequence.
See, when he's gone back though, John, you do kind of fear for him, don't you? You're like,
the way it's filmed, Stephen, just magnificent. It's almost like a handheld camera.
It's like GTA. That's what it feels like.
I remember his outfit, the white shirt, the sort of tan suede jacket with the Levi's jeans, just absolutely immaculate looking as Bruce Willis in this movie. Yeah. And he's going through wired fences and whatnot. He goes into the apartment, every little sound, it's like being awake at 3 a.m. and maybe want to make something with a microwave or something, and it pings and you feel it's the loudest sound on the planet. Yeah. That's what it's like when he's in this apartment. Of course, we have the sort of whatever the hell it is, Pop-Tarts that come up out of the toaster. Yeah. And he sees the gun as well, this suppressed gun on the actual worktop. He gets his watch, and then one Vince Vega pops out of the toilet and he just guns him down as if he's a piece of trash. And Stephen, I've said it in the guideline. Well, I actually didn't say it in the guideline, I deleted it because there was more to add, but it could be the most disappointed I have ever been watching a movie with that moment when Vega gets killed. And I'm not a massive fan of John Travolta, but I think that speaks volumes for what the guy brought to this movie with that role. Yeah. Devastated when that happened. I hated.
It's funny, John, because you don't normally have a main character's fate decided halfway through the film, and he's still in the film. If you know what I mean. And you're right. You know, I think that's probably the reason at this point I wasn't too keen on, this character at the beginning, Butch, because of what happens. But then again, it wasn't intentional, as in he was setting out to kill Vince. No. It was more a reaction more than anything, because I think he knew he was. I don't know if he knew him up to this point, did he? No, I'm not really sure.
I think they had the brief interaction in the bar,
club, but apart from that, he must have known he was a heavy. He must have known he was a serious sod. Yeah. And
he's got a suppressed gun, a submachine gun in the apartment, so he knows it's kill or be killed. If I don't kill this fool, then he's going to kill me. So he has to do it, Stephen. But look, this sequence is just absolutely crazy that comes after this. I mean, we've got Marcellus walking across the road with coffee. He's got his watch. He's killed Vega. He's thinking he's off into the sunset. He's walking. He's driving it. No, he's driving. Yeah,
he's stopped at lights, John.
Marcellus walks by with the coffees.
Yeah, I think if Marcellus had continued walking, he would have let it slip. But the minute Marcellus notices him, he's again, I need to do something about this, or he's going to kill me. I thought he did kill him. I don't know how he survived that. It puts him right up in there.
Stephen, it's magnificent.
But it's where both of them end up, which is probably one of the funniest. I find it funny anyway. It's one of the funniest sequences in the film.
Yeah, Stephen, but obviously before we get to the sort of, I think, Zed and the Gimp scene, which is, again, one of the standouts in the entire movie, have to speak about the hit and run, the sort of, not hit and run, he knocks him down. He gets up, Marcellus, and shoots towards Butch, who bails, and he accidentally hits the woman who's over checking to see if Butch is okay. Yeah. the scream she lets out at Stephen, I can't help it. Maybe I'm sick, I don't know, but I laugh my head off every time. It's like, he shot up by mistake. Again, it's like GTA, it's just ridiculous violence.
Yeah.
It's like gratuitous violence, it's hilarious for me. But Stephen, another thing that's hilarious, as you did say, that sequence, they go into the shop, I think Butch goes into the shop, and I think I don't know how they both end up in the shop. I think he gives chase and they end up in the shop. They end up down in this basement.
Yeah, two of them are knocked out, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because I think he's trying to get a gun or a weapon or something out the shop to deal with him. And he does this sort of hillbilly in the... He is a hillbilly, isn't he? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He takes him down into the basement. He deals with Marcellus first. Butch gets tied up with this gimp. Stephen, one of the highlights in this movie for me is the moment where he breaks free and he just lands one right on his chin and knocks him. It's the way he goes limp. I just love it. I love it, man. And I love what happens afterwards, where you've got this sort of kinky shit going on with Marcellus and just the way that they both deal with him. I think he goes up and gets a katana sword.
I think as well it shows the type of guy that Butch is, because he is in a sort of crossroads where he can bail, and leave Marcellus to rot basically. But he decides no, that's not the right thing to do. As much as parting ways with this guy, and he wants to kill me, I think this might be the best thing to do, to have a clean slate with him at least, and obviously save his life basically, which he does, and I think it's funny, Marcellus Wallace's dealings and handling after that is basically, right, that's us even, but I don't want to ever see you again.
Yeah.
I don't want to ever talk about this situation. He doesn't want anybody knowing about this, which is quite right as well.
I'm about to get medieval in this bitch's ass or something like that.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It's a pity we never saw that.
Yeah, it is, Stephen. I wonder why he drew the line at not showing us that. In many ways, that would have been better than some of the stuff that's happened in this movie. Just seeing him tearing shreds off this guy.
Yeah.
But Stephen, you're right. Just taking a tangent like that, just the fact that it all comes together beautifully for Butch. He's doty sort of partner leaves the watch in the apartment. He has to get back. He risks life and limb.
He takes his bike, doesn't he?
He takes his bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Zed's bike, because there's a great line. Whose bike is this? It's not a bike. It's a chopper, baby, or something like that. Whose chopper is this? It's Zed. Zed's dead. Don't worry about it. Basically, along a fantastic line. But Steve, the fact that he went back to this apartment to get this gold watch, it has so much sentimental meaning to him, and it redeems his whole life, because if he didn't do that and get back, he'd have been continually looking over his back the rest of his life for Marcellus coming after him. But he almost writes his whole life going and getting that watch. So it's Christopher Walken saves Butch's life, essentially, saves Bruce Willis in this. Just a great little moment. Also, I don't know if that's the last time we see Butch. I think it is. He drives off in the chopper with...
I think it's just a sunset moment, isn't it, for him and that strange girlfriend of his. Just basically, Zed's dead, baby, and that's it, they drive off into the sunset. I'm pretty sure, I think
and then obviously we tie up the other two guys' situation where they get back to the apartment and we have the divine intervention moment where that guy busts out, fires about 5 or 6 rounds. I think it's a Magnum.
Yeah.
I think he says that was like a hand rocket. Could have took our heads off. And that's just Jules Winfield. He's saying, look, I'm done, I'm out. That was me. I could have been dead there. I'm not. That's God looking down. He really looks at the way that he's been wording this. Ezekiel, I can't not say that, goddamn. Ezekiel, I can't say it, it's not for me. This is why I don't read the Bible. No. But he rethinks his whole life, essentially, Stephen. And that is hilarious, because we have the bickering back and forth with him and Vince. Vince is just not having it. He's like, nah, that's superstitious shit. And look how it plays out for Vince. He ends up getting done in a bath. Yeah. And Jules goes off into the sunset. So that was kind of another little in-joke. He doesn't know what's going to befall him, but we, the audience, already know. Yeah. We get the moment where Marv gets shot in the head as well. Oh shit, I've just shot Marv in the head. I think they go over a bump.
Yeah.
And it brings in Tarantino. I can't recall what his character's...
Jimmy.
Yeah.
I was going to say Warren, but that's his name in Death Proof, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jimmy.
And then also the coffee sequence.
I love that. Yeah.
It's a lovely coffee. It's like, I don't need to hear you tell me it's a good coffee. Then when the wolf comes in and says the same thing, thank you. So,
well, the funny thing is, Winston Wolfe doesn't actually have to say anything. He takes a sip of the coffee and kind of just goes like that, as if he's actually thinking what the other two had said, I'd love
to try that coffee.
I know,
it's so long since I've had the coffee.
How good is the cameo though, John, from obviously Harvey Keitel, because he's not in the film that long. That's hence why it's called a cameo. But it's just the whole operation of the cleanup, because they don't know how to deal with that, don't they? Not, you know, it's an absolute mess in the back of that car.
And
obviously their clothes are absolutely, you know, blood splattered as well. The way he deals with that, and I think he's only got a certain amount of time before Jimmy's wife returns home, isn't it?
Yeah, half an hour or something,
Yeah.
25 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he hoses him down outside, gives him those ridiculous t-shirts. I think it's Jimmy's t-shirts. Then I think they use blankets and whatnot to dispose of the body. Stephen, that Wolf character, Harvey Keitel's still making a living off that. He's still doing adverts over here, or commercials as they call them in the States.
Yeah.
To this very day, I think it's an insurance company he does it for.
Yeah.
So he's
Direct
still,
Line, I think it is.
Direct Line, he's still doing adverts based on that character, which is crazy to me because he's such an accomplished actor. But Stephen, again, just a great little scene, great dialogue, great dark humour, which is just aplenty in this movie. And just the way that those two characters interact, the dialogue, as I says, mushroom, cloud lane, mother effers and whatnot. And I'm a racing car and I'm about to go red. Oh, you're about to go red. And that's when he says that. It's just brilliant. Why am I on brain detail? We'll swap him. You're going in the back. Just these two characters being allowed to sort of flow. It wouldn't surprise me if a lot of this was ad-libbed in, little bits were ad-libbed in.
It would not surprise me one bit.
Then again, Tarantino, such a good writer that he is, perhaps not. Maybe it was just his brilliance. But Stephen, we get the epilogue, the finale, the diner sequence from the other perspective. We get from Jules and Vince's perspective. As I says, both speaking, they look incredible. The food looks amazing, incidentally. I think it's Vince has got the pancakes with the bacon and the maple syrup. Looks unbelievable. He never gets to eat it.
No.
He goes to the toilet. The diner gets held up, and then they have to bail.
That's
I'd
right,
be raging. I've got to be honest with you. I'd be taking a bite of it. But just he's speaking existentially. He goes off to the toilet. And then those two lunatics, the Bonnie and Clyde, the Honey Bunny and the other guy.
He wants the case, doesn't he? The case, whatever it is that's in it. You know, I think it's never established what is actually the contents. But it's certainly something that shines.
Yeah.
It's obviously gold or something like that. But I mean that the whole
wallet, Stephen.
Yeah. But I think it's a good scene, John. It kind of wraps it up as well. It kind of bookends the film, but also it gives more meaning to the opening dining scene as well, and how it plays out as well. You know, because you've obviously got the Pumpkin and Honey Bunny characters that you're thinking they're not going to win this. You know, they're not going to come out of this well. Well, they do, but that's all down to Jules, I think. You know, in his negotiation. You know,
through a transitional period.
Yeah, and exactly.
Not when you'd be dead.
Yep, exactly. You know, he does say that. You know, I think he's quite happy for them to take the contents of the wallet, but he cannot give them the case.
No.
You know, and it's just a good scene, John. It's very tense, and it's well acted as well, because there is a point where the Tim Roth character could be made to look an absolute fool.
Yeah,
he is to a degree. He's brought down a peg or two in this situation, but not to the point where he's humiliated in front of Honey Bunny. Yeah, is that her name? Is she Honey Bunny?
Honey Bunny. Yeah. She's a lunatic in this scene, Stephen. She's screaming hysterically.
Yeah,
I think she's
be cool like Fonz, isn't it? That's the line, isn't it? Yeah.
But you're right. They think they're these sort of hard men and women robbing the diner. Then they come up against two absolute clinical assassins, gangsters, and they just slap them down.
Yep.
It's the fact that they think they've got him cornered, and then Vince comes out with a gun, and it's like, nope, he's done. We'll let you away with it, then we'll bail, and that's it. We'll all go our separate ways, and it's a happily ever after.
Yeah.
Apart from Vince, who gets killed later on in the actual bathroom. He may be the only guy out of the main players that dies in this whole movie, which is ridiculous. Butch survives, Jules survives, Marcellus survives, Honey Bunny and Pumpkin survive. Vince is the only one that dies.
Yeah.
I don't know what that tells me. Maybe there's some symbolic meaning behind it. I can't be arsed looking into it, really.
You know, incidentally, John, the character of Vince Vega is related to another character, isn't he? I think it's a Pulp Fiction character. I can't remember, but it's that again, the connecting of the worlds, John. You know, that Tarantino does, because I think at one point he was tempted to have the brothers, you know, having their own film, if you like, but it's just he's such an interesting character. Michael Madsden was going to, I think he was going to, I don't know if his character does exist or not, or if it was something they had an idea in. Maybe somebody can comment and clear that one up, but I'm pretty sure Michael Madsden was going to play the brother, and it might have been actually it might have been a character he's already played, maybe in Kill Bill or something. I can't remember, John.
And that connectivity again of the worlds, Stephen, it's just something that makes these Tarantino movies so unique. The fact they are all sharing the same universe, This is why when the talk of Star Trek came up and whatnot, and I think there was talk of him doing something else. I think it was Bond. Pierce Brosnan came out and says he was massaging his ego. You were the best Bond, or you are the best Bond, and I want to do a Bond movie R-rated. Tarantino, come on, mate, I respect you, but Pierce Brosnan, the best Bond, not a chance. Not when Sean Connery played in that role. But Stephen, yeah, you're right. I mean, something unique about him. But Stephen, the final thoughts on the actual story before we move on to the standout, and just final thoughts on the movie in general. This is just typifies what he's all about, what this movie's all about. The way it all comes together uniquely, it weaves, the way it brings all these different timelines out of sync, all these different unchronological ordered plots all together in a sort of cohesive manner. It's absolute magic. I've not seen it handled quite so well in any other movie. As I did say, Nolan did try it in Dunkirk. It was okay, but that was different. That was like 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week. It wasn't like this where it was like 6 different things all come together in like 1 day. It was just unique, and it was just the way it was handled. Absolute brilliance. This is why it stands the test of time for me, this movie, because of this disjointed story and different characters all blending in one way or the other. As he says, different characters with different weights in the story. Just perfect for me.
John, it's a film I love to go back to. I never owned this on VHS the first time around, which was weird. You know, we did have Sky Movies at the time, and it would come on occasionally, and I would always catch it when it was on. Finally, when obviously DVD came into the market, I finally purchased a hard copy of the film because I love it that much. Vic Vega, also known as Toothpick Vic or Mr. Blonde, is Vince Vega's dead brother. He's not in Pulp Fiction but is in Reservoir Dogs. So there you are, John. There's the connection.
Vic Vega, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That was actually prior to Pulp Fiction. So he's created that character, then he's then made Vince Vega with that in mind.
Exactly.
To flesh out that timeline. Fantastic. Stephen, standout performances and characters in this movie. Who's your standout performer, first and foremost, and then character? I'll let you go first, and then I'll pick
I would
mine.
say probably John Travolta, John. I think because I hadn't seen him in anything for so long. It might have been a good 10-15 years since I last saw him in a sort of major film. And just the character as well. I think he's got some of the best lines. Him and obviously Jules have just got the best lines in the film. And they kind of carry the story to a degree, out with obviously the butch stuff, but there's just something about John Travolta in this film. He seems to be the sort of complete package in this. He's got the comedy, he can play the hard nut, and also he's some great dancing in there as well. So he's just got I would say him, maybe Samuel Jackson as well, but you always know what you're getting with Samuel Jackson anyway. And I don't mean this in a negative way or anything like that, but with Samuel Jackson, he normally plays the same kind of role, if you like, always plays it very well. But there's just something about John Travolta who took me by surprise in this film.
Stephen, what's your favourite character? Would you go with Vince Vega as well? And would it be?
I would probably go with Vince Vega. Yeah, I think he's probably the most interesting one out of them all.
Stephen, I'd agree with you. I have to say, I don't think. I mean, I love Jules Winfield. I do. I love Samuel Jackson. But yeah, you're right. It's just for what he's done in the movie, it's distinctly different. Little things get on. He's taking the boss's wife out, the dancing. Yeah, he interacts.
He's got more to do in the film.
He's kind of the cohesive glue as well through all these different stories. He interacts with Butch. He interacts with He interacts with Jules. He interacts with the honey bunny and pumpkin or whatever the hell they're called. He interacts with Jimmy. He interacts with the wolf. He's a sort of one cohesive character throughout the whole story.
That's true, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and look. As I did say, not a huge fan of John Travolta, but his performance in this is magnificent. I don't know in terms of nominations. I did have it up. I don't know if he actually got a nomination. I think there was a number of acting nominations for this movie. I know it only won one Oscar, which is what we will get into shortly, and it was for screenplay, which seems fitting, to be honest. I don't know what happened in '95. Was it maybe like Philadelphia or something, another Tom Hanks year, where it was like just up against
Apollo 13 was out that year, was it? I can't remember.
Surely, did that win an Oscar?
I'm not sure.
Jesus Christ, Ron Howard. But yeah, I mean, it's a fantastic performance anyway. I could imagine he probably did get an Oscar nomination, probably Samuel as well, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it was a really good performance. Stephen, aesthetic of the film though, before we go on to Oscars and final thoughts on it, it has a certain aesthetic about it, this movie. It's kind of a gritty, it looks aged. I don't know what it is. It's just something about it. It's noir-esque.
John,
it's weird, but it's lovely.
Very much like Death Proof. If you take out the technology, you're not really sure when the film's set. And I would say the same for this film as well. The hairdos You know, John Travolta's hairdo and Samuel Jackson's hairdos are certainly out of time, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, for the time it was made anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's just another trademark of Tarantino, isn't it? You know, that he can really just give his whole film a different look to anything you've seen before or since. You know, and it sort of it ties into his world as well, doesn't it? Just the look. You know, it's out with obviously the Western stuff, John. All of this stuff could happen in the same world, if you like, you know.
Yeah, Stephen, look, I agree. It's just beautiful in terms of cinematography. As I did say, the handheld stuff following Butch, just amazing sort of shots going on in this movie, amazing aesthetic. You're right, production and costume design just off the scale. And it was such a small budget. It was only $8.5 million. They kept it right down because I think all the actors earned the same weekly amount.
Yeah.
So it was a relatively low level budget movie, and for it to be so good and have such a degree of quality, it's quite remarkable actually. I know sans inflation it's probably about $20 million or something now.
Yeah.
Still a small budget movie even definitely. By today's standards.
I mean, it's really what you would say, you know, for that time it's an independent film, you know, although it's got obviously the Weinstein you know, production.
It was a first movie though.
But it certainly is it's an independent film, so the budget on this is actually very reasonable.
It is. Stephen, look, final thoughts on the movie and a brief chat on the Oscars. It was actually Forrest Gump 95. It was Tom Hanks that won, and obviously Forrest Gump won as well. Clint Eastwood get the memorial stuff, and then obviously it was Speed as well. I get a lot of the sort of mixing and sound editing and stuff like that. Often you'd expect that. Another great movie.
Yeah.
Was that Fincher? Who done Speed? It wasn't Fincher.
No,
who the hell did that?
I can't remember the chap's name, John, but I remember we were talking about him the other day, weren't we?
And I can't remember.
Yeah.
But Stephen, while you're having a little look for that, I will say that John Travolta did get nominated for Best Actor.
It was Jan de Bont. It was the director of Speed, yeah.
There you go, I didn't know that. I don't know where I get Fincher from, not even close. But Samuel get nominated, Uma Thurman get nominated, film editing, director, best picture, best screenplay, one for best screenplay. But Stephen, even though it didn't win for any of the acting performances, in many ways, as she says, it kind of proved as a sort of springboard for the likes of Travolta, who was on a downward sort of spiral, not spiral, but a downward gradient at this point in his career. This sort of rejuvenated his career, and it sort of propelled a lot of other actors, the likes of Uma Thurman, into minor stardom, major stardom, depending on what your opinion is.
Yeah.
So even though it didn't win for acting performances, I think it actually proved to be quite a pivotal movie in that sort of regard as well. In fact, my final thoughts on the movie, I just love this movie, Stephen. As I did say, it's my favourite Tarantino movie, and that's high praise indeed, because the man has made pretty just consistent, excellent movies throughout his entire career. I hope he's not done after the next one. I hope he continues churning them out and he's talking shite, because I love watching the guy's movies. They're always event movies, but he's never going to top this one for me, Stephen.
Definitely not, John. I can only echo what you said there. It's a film, like I said, I love to get back to every now and again. Still get a kick out of it, and some of the line delivery is absolutely comedy gold. Whether it's intentional or not, I'm not sure. I'm sure it is. And just some of the sequences in this film, it's still unique. It still has that experience. You're watching it for the very first time. I don't know what it is. It's just something very unique about this film and the way it was made. Yeah, absolutely, Stephen. Look, I ain't got much more to add though. I'm going to round the review up. What is your thoughts on this absolute modern day great Pulp Fiction? Do you agree that it's a modern day great? Or are you some strange bedfellow who thinks that it is an absolute pile of shit? If you've got anything to say, if you think that, then just get out of our channel right now. You don't belong here. But if you've got anything to say at all, you can comment below and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section. And you can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this. And if you do, then you'll see us again tomorrow for another movie review.